Hi everybody, welcome to the Quench Life podcast. And with me today is Jess. Welcome Jess, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, thank you. So why don't you start with, how did you end up on the Cape?
I was actually an Army baby. My mom was born and raised here, so when I was about 6 months old, she moved back home with me and I was here ever since.
Oh, so where'd you go to high school?
DY.
DY, awesome.
Dolphin.
You're a dolphin. You gotta be something, right?
You have
I went to
be.
Barnstable. I think that they were the Red Raiders.
The Raiders,
so I was a Raider. So you grew up on the Cape. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about what's Jess got going on. Give us the goss.
So I did grow up on the Cape. Shortly, I went away to college, did the 4 years, and
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Sacred Heart in Connecticut.
Nice.
And of course, I graduated in '09 when everything was shutting down. So it was really hard to find a job right out of school. And so I moved back home and I ended up then going straight into law school. So I went to Mass School of Law, which is in Andover, and I commuted from here up there every day to go to school.
Holy guacamole.
Yeah.
How long did you have to do that for?
3 years.
Yeah.
3 years I did that.
Yeah.
So.
And now you're living the attorney sidekick life?
Pretty much, yeah. I ended up moving to Virginia for 5 years. I met my husband. We got married and he wanted to move back. He had never lived anywhere outside of Virginia.
Yeah.
And so, the Cape is a pretty cool place to live. And
Sure.
so, of course, his family was kind of jealous. They had always wanted to come visit. So
Right.
now they have a free place to come stay with us. But so we moved back and now I'm a senior paralegal for a local attorney.
That's awesome. So what brought you to Virginia? Like just to get off? Were you like, get me off Cape Cod?
I was the typical.
And then true love brought you back?
I know. I felt like I was like most people here. We all try to find life over the bridge.
Sure.
And at the time I was just working for a bank as a temp. And it wasn't really what I wanted to be doing, but I also didn't really want to be here. I mean, I was 24.
Yeah.
Plenty of time, single.
Yeah.
Figure out life. So I came home from work one day and I told my mom I was leaving. And we packed all of my stuff in a car, put the mattress and box spring on the roof, and we drove down. For a weekend, I found an apartment, put everything in storage, came back, gave my 2 weeks, and left again and was down there.
How come you picked Virginia?
My dad lived down there, so I had gone to visit him several times, just, while growing up, and I really liked it. It had the city, country, it was in between. I was in Richmond, so it was equal distance to the beach or the mountains, and it just kind of seemed to have everything that I was looking for, but also very affordable.
Right.
And,
Which was what I was looking for when I was 24.
Yes, I needed that.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of opportunities. A lot of big companies have their headquarters down there, so I felt like it would be a bit easier to find what I was looking for.
Right. So at that time, when you moved back to Virginia, we weren't lawyering then. You had already finished school.
I had finished school.
College, but we weren't.
I had finished everything.
Yeah.
And so it was just determining what type of field I wanted to be in, which I feel like I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. What made you choose a lawyer?
For law school or to work for one?
Yeah, for law school, sorry.
So when I graduated undergrad, I went for business. And like I said, it was hard just to find a job. So my mom had thrown out the idea, and she kind of always called me Elle Woods, jokingly, because I love the movie, could quote it, was the best. And then, of course, I graduated and got a tiny little dog. So it was, everything in my world was pink, so it was kind of perfect anyway. And she threw that out, and so I applied. It was more or less, I didn't have anything else to do. I might as well try to do it and see what happens, and it worked.
Yeah.
So.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that was just like a throw it at the wall, maybe it'll stick, and it did.
And it did.
That's awesome. I like how you're just like, this is what I'm doing, and you just kind of jump in with your eyes closed. Yeah. That's awesome.
I don't so much do that anymore. I have a bit more reservations when I make decisions now.
Fair enough.
But back then, I was very big into education. While I was in law school, I actually also got my master's at the same time. They had a dual program. So that was always something that was very important to me. I was the first person in my family to go to college, so
Yeah.
I kind of held that very proudly.
Yeah.
And I guess I took it to the ultimate
You just
extreme
went
rather
all
than
in.
just
I
doing
love
the
it.
one.
I love it.
But that's something that nobody can ever take away from me.
Right.
Whether I do something with it or not, that's up to me, but
Sure.
I have that and nobody can take it from me.
That's
so.
awesome. Good job.
Thanks.
So why don't you talk us through about like fitness and how that's played a part in your life or what that's looked like for you? Have you always been active or what's that been like for you?
I was definitely the short round child growing up, but my mother had a philosophy of put me in everything and see what I like. So it was, do a season of basketball, but I had to complete whatever season it was. If I didn't like it, that was fine, we would find something else. So I did, basketball, softball, dance, sailing, all of it. And when I went into high school, I realized I didn't really like any of those typical high school sports like basketball, softball, field hockey, enough that I thought I could make a team and be successful on it. So,
which is scary.
It's very
like
scary.
You remember that even now, like making teams or even having to be picked for stuff. Why is that? Like,
I do, and
we all need like an adult therapy session probably for that.
It's true. And I had gone. She had put me into a private middle school. So when it came time to high school, I actually chose to go to DY. So a lot of the people that I was going to be back at school with, they all knew each other forever, and I had disappeared and come back. So I also kind of had that stacked up against me. And so she was talking to a coworker of hers one day, and her daughter did crew. And I was like, I don't know what that is. I like the water, sure. So we went to a practice, and they actually had an indoor facility behind the Bell Tower Mall. And they stuck me on a rowing machine, which...
DY did?
No, it was not affiliated with DY. It was a Cape-wide team.
Gotcha, okay.
So any girl, it was a girls' team, any girl from anywhere on the Cape could join.
Okay.
And so they stuck me on a rowing machine and forgot about me. And so I was just there rowing, and the coach came back and went, I can't believe you did that for that long. Like, come back tomorrow. I was like, okay.
Sold, kid.
Okay, sure. So the first time, they had me do that on the rowing machine for a while, and then the first time I went on the water, I was hooked.
Yeah.
Like that was it for me. So I ended up doing crew through high school, and then when I went to Sacred Heart, I made the team there.
Yeah.
So I did that through college, and then I actually had a very severe knee injury that I was nursing for about 10 years and didn't know the extent of it. And so my senior year of college, I ended up having a major knee surgery that took me out of rowing for the whole year. And so that kind of set me back. I was told, I'm never gonna row, I will never be able to run. If I got full range of motion of my leg again, it would be amazing. So for someone that was, hardcore, I mean, with rowing, it's 6 to 7 days a week, all year long.
No matter the weather, the temperature.
No.
It's another sport I could cross off the list for me personally. And
I thought it was great in high school because practice was after school.
Yeah.
I got to college and my alarm was going off at 4 a.m. and that was not what any college kid really wants to deal with.
Right.
And then after classes in the afternoon, we were back in the gym. So it was sometimes dual practices, if you think about it. So that was a big halt for me. I didn't know what to do with that, to be honest. But I knew that was not an option. You're not gonna tell me I can't run again, I can't move or do any activities that I've always done. So I worked really hard. Luckily, they had one of the best physical therapy programs in the state at my college, so I was able to do PT there, but that was just not an option. So once I graduated, I was like, well, now what? You know, I've been doing an organized sport for 8 years. What do I do now? So I, of course, moved back home and was trying to find a gym. And at the time, there was really only the box gyms. And then I found Women's Workout. And so I was there for a bit. And I loved the group classes because when you're rowing, it's a team sport.
Sure.
So for me to then just start working out on my own, you stick me on a treadmill, I'm gonna get bored. Like I need someone kind of yelling at me in my face, telling me I'm not doing enough.
Right, okay.
So when I started doing the group classes, that was my thing.
Right.
I finally found my thing. And then I moved to Virginia. So when I went down there, I had to find something else to do. And I actually found an adult rowing program down there. So I ended up rowing
awesome.
again, which was huge. And I did coach when I came back here to the team too, but it's not the same.
Right.
But then when I was down there, I found a kickboxing gym. But that's all they did it was like a kickboxing with some boot camp mixed in.
Sure.
And I loved that.
Right.
But then we moved back here.
Right.
So it's like as soon as I found something, I was leaving, and that was really hard too because I'm like, now I'm starting over.
It takes time to get your pace and get comfortable doing fitness and even life, having schedules and kind of getting comfortable with what the programs are and seeing people's faces. And so picking up and moving around, that definitely can affect your successfulness in that for sure.
Yeah, and I had found an all-women's gym when I was down in Richmond, and realistically, funny enough, the only real group fitness class they did was a step class.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was like they would do like a hip hop one, and they would switch up the music and have like themed ones. But you'd walk in, it's like 40 women in this tiny room. You can barely move, and it was a total fend for yourself. Like there was no real instruction, no walking around saying, taking like little, instructions on what to do. And so you're in the back corner going, I'm lost. They're all facing forward. I'm facing the corner going, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And it was a little bit more cliquey too. Like you walked in, nobody really said hi to you. It wasn't very welcoming. And for a women's gym, like that's what you want. You're there to be with other women and to work out and have a like mind, and it just wasn't that. So when I moved back, I found you were doing the ones out of the trailer, and I so wanted to do it, but my work schedule was just all over the place. I was working for a place that was about an hour and a half away, so it really just didn't fit. And then I started working for the attorney. We were across the street, and my girlfriend had written to me and said, they're doing a Mardi Gras spin class, and I went, okay. It wasn't Mardi Gras. It was that Cinco de Mayo. It was a Cinco de Mayo one. And I went, spin? I don't spin.
Yeah.
And at that point, too, I had for about a year and a half kind of let myself go. Like I was having a really hard time transitioning back to living here. We had just bought a house. I was in a job that I didn't really like, trying to reconnect with friends that I knew my whole life, but we were all in different phases of life.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of a mess.
Yeah.
And so she tells me a spin class. I was like, oh, okay. And we went, and then we did the 30-day trial. And for that first week, I tried to do one of every class because I'm like, at least I'll get an idea of what everything is here. And I was hooked. And I mean, I've been here ever since. And you've put me through a Spartan race at Fenway.
Yes,
you already have a list of things when COVID's over of what we're doing.
Yes.
And but yeah, I finally feel like I enjoy working out again.
Yeah.
That I have friends, and that when I walk through the door, it's like like I'm home again.
Yeah.
But this time I'm not moving. Like I'm here.
Not again, Jess.
No, I'm
That's
here.
it.
So, but yeah, no, this.
Yeah.
That's
It's hard. I think, there's so many parts that have to work correctly for fitness to work, and it's important. So I'm glad that you figured that all out, and your knee now is okay. We have good days, bad days, or where are you at with that?
No, I mean, I have full range of motion, so.
And you're walking.
Thank goodness.
And talking.
Yeah, everything's great. I have to keep an eye on it. There are days I feel like a human barometer, like I can tell if it's gonna snow or rain. And there are times I have to take it easy, but I modify when I need to, but for the most part,
just listen to your body.
That's
the biggest thing. Just listen to your body and see what she has to tell you, and stop when she says enough.
I try to remember to do that, but we all know how good I am at doing that.
We all can be a little competitive sometimes. It happens to the best of us. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story. We appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with us on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
We hope that you guys will join us again. There's so much information about what women should be doing to stay fit and healthy, it makes it hard to know what information is right. Join me, Jillian Russo, every Wednesday as I interview women who have finally made themselves a priority. Each episode contains inspirational stories from women just like you who have had enough and have decided to make health and fitness part of their everyday lives. I'll also be inviting other health and wellness professionals to share their stories and provide tips on health, nutrition, wellness, life, and much more.